Act 1 of Our American Cousin by Tom Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Narrator, read by KHand.
Asa Trenchard, read by Joseph Tabler.
Florence Trenchard, read by Beth Thomas.
Lord Dundreary, read by Rob Board.
Sir Edward Trenchard, read by Zames CurranMr.
Mr. Coyle, read by Peter Tucker.
Mary Meredith, read by Kristin G.
Mr. Binny, read by ToddHWAbel
Murcott, by Scott Bennett.
Mrs. Mountchessington, read by Bev StevensGeorgina Mountchessington, read by Michele
EatonAugusta Mountchessington, read by Maria Casper.
Mr. Buddicombe, read by Howie J. Watts.
John Wickens, read by Matt Berard.
Harry Vernon, read by Ashur
GharaviJohn De Boots, read by David Olson.
Skillet, read by Jessie Yun.
Sharp, read by Mary Kay.
Act 1. Scene 1. Drawing room in Trenchard Manor. Center downstage backed by interior, discovering table with luncheon spread. Large French window through which a fine English park is seen. Open archway, set balcony behind. Table right, books and papers on it. Work basket containing wools and embroidery frame. A fashionable armchair and sofa, small table, near center downstage. Stage handsomely set, costly furniture, carpet down, chairs, etc. Buddicombe discovered on sofa, reading newspaper. Skillet and Sharp busily arranging furniture as curtain rises.
I don't know how you may feel as a visitor, Mr. Buddicombe, but I think this is a most uncomfortable family.
Very uncomfortable. I have no curtain to my bed.
And no wine at the second table.
And meaner servants I never seed.
I am afraid Sir Edward is in a queer strait.
Yes, for only this morning, Mr. Binny, Mrs. Skillet, says he.
Enter Binny.
Mind your own business instead of your betters. I'm disgusted with you lower servants. When the wine merchant presents his bills, you men, hear me, say he's been pressing for the last 6 months, do you?
Nor I, that the last year's milliner's bills have not been paid.
Nor I, that Miss Florence has not had no new dresses from London all winter.
And I can solemnly swear that his lordship's hair has been faithfully bound in this bosom.
That'll do. But to remember to check idle curiosity is the first duty of men in livery. Ah, here are the letters.
Enter John Wickens with green baize bag. Binny takes bag, takes out letters and reads addresses.
Ha, Bill, of course. Miss Augusta, Mrs. Mountchessington, Lord Dundreary, Captain De Boots, Miss Georgina Mountchessington, Lieutenant Vernon. Ah, that's from the Admiralty. What's this? Miss Florence Trenchard, via Brattleboro, Vermont?
Where's that, Mr. Binny?
Why, that be in the United States of North America, and a main good place for poor folks.
John Wickens, you forget yourself.
Beg pardon, Mr. Binny.
John Wickens, leave the room.
But I know where Vermont be, though.
John Wickens, get out.
Exit John.
Dreadful low fellow that.
Always impudent.
Buddicombe, looking at letter in Binny's hand.
Why, that is Sir Edward's hand, Mr. Binny. He must have been sporting.
Yes, shooting the wild elephants and buffaloes that abound there.
The nasty beasts.
Looking off.
Hello. There comes Miss Florence tearing across the lane like a 3-year-old colt.
Oh, Jimmy!
Run off. Buddicombe runs off. Enter Florence. Florence, as if running.
Oh, I'm fairly out of breath. Good morning, Binny. The letter bag I saw coming. Wickens coming with it. I thought I could catch him before I reached the house.
Sits.
So off I started. I forgot the pond. It was in or over. I got over, but my hat got in. I wish you'd fish it out for me. You won't find the pond very deep.
Me fish for an at? Does she take me for an angler?
Give me the letters.
Takes them.
Ah, blessed budget that descends upon Trenchard Manor like rain on a duck pond. Tell Papa and all that the letters have come. You will find them on the terrace.
Yes, miss.
Going.
And then go fish my hat out of the pond. It's not very deep.
Aside.
Me fish for ats? I wonder if she takes me for an angler.
Exit disgusted. Florence reading directions.
Lieutenant Vernon.
This is a large letter with a large white envelope, red seal.
In Her Majesty's service, Admiralty, R.N. Ah, that's an answer to Harry's application for a ship. Papa promised to use his influence for him. I hope he has succeeded, but then he will have to leave us, and who knows if he ever comes back. What a foolish girl I am, when I know that his rise in the service will depend upon it. I do hope he'll get it, and, if he must leave us, I'll bid him good-bye as a lass who loves a sailor should.
Enter Sir Edward, Mrs. Mountchessington, Augusta, Captain De Boots, Vernon.
Papa dear, here are letters for you. One for you, Mrs. Mountchessington, one for you, Captain De Boots, and one for you, Harry.
Hiding letter behind her.
Ah, one for me, Florence.
Now, what will you give me for one?
Ah, then you have one.
Yes, there, Harry.
Gives it.
Ah, for a ship.
Opens and reads.
Ah, mon ami, you are to leave us. Good news or bad?
No ship yet. This promises another year of landlubbery.
Goes up.
I'm so sorry.
Aside.
I'm so glad he's not going away. But where's Dundreary? Has anybody seen Dundreary?
Enter Dundreary.
Good morning, Miss Florence.
Florence comes down.
Good morning, my Lord Dundreary. Who do you think has been here? What does the postman bring?
Well, sometimes he brings a bag with a lock on it, sometimes newspapers, and sometimes letters, I suppose.
There.
Gives letter. Dundreary opens letter and Florence goes up right. Dundreary knocks knees against chair, turns round, knocks shins, and at last is seated extreme right.
Thank you.
Reads letter. De Boots, reading paper.
By Jove, old Solomon has made a crop of it.
What of it?
I beg pardon. An event I am deeply interested in. That's all. I beg pardon.
Ah, Florence, dear, there's a letter of yours got among mine.
Gives it.
Why, Papa, it's from dear brother Ned.
From my boy. Where is he? How is he? Read it.
He writes from Brattleboro, Vermont.
Reading written letter.
Quite well. Just come in from a shooting excursion with a party of crows. Splendid fellows, 6 feet high.
Birds 6 feet high. What tremendous animals they must be.
Oh, I see what my brother means. A tribe of Indians called crows, not birds.
Oh, I thought you meant those creatures with wigs on them.
Wigs?
I mean those things that move, breathe, and walk. They look like animals with those things.
Moving his arms like wings.
Wings.
Birds with wings, that's the idea.
Florence, reading written letter.
By the by, I have lately come quite haphazard upon the other branch of our family, which emigrated to America at the Restoration. They are now thriving in this state, and discovering our relationship, they received me most hospitably. I have cleared up the mysterious death of old Mark Trenchard.
Of my uncle.
Florence, reading written letter.
It appears that when he quarrelled with his daughter on her marriage with poor Meredith, he came here searching for this stray shoot of the family tree, found them, and died in their house, leaving Asa, one of the sons, heir to his personal property in England, which ought to belong to poor Mary Meredith. Asa is about to sail for the old country to take possession. I gave him directions to find you out, and he should arrive almost as soon as this letter. Receive him kindly for the sake of the kindness he has shown to me, and let him see some of our shooting. Your affectionate brother, Ned.
And American branch of the family.
Oh, how interesting.
How delightfully romantic. I can imagine the wild young hunter, an Apollo of the prairie.
An Apollo of the prairie, yes, with a strong nasal twang and a decided taste for tobacco and cobblers.
Florence, you forget that he is a Trenchard, and no true Trenchard would have a liking for cobblers or low people of that kind.
I hate him, whatever he is, coming here to rob poor cousin Mary of her grandmother's guineas.
Florence, how often must I request you not speak of Mary Meredith as your cousin?
Why, she is my cousin, is she not? Besides, she presides over her milk pail like a duchess playing dairymaid.
Sir Edward goes up.
Ah, Papa won't hear me speak of my poor cousin, and then I'm so fond of syllabubs. Dundreary, do you know what syllabubs are?
Oh, yes, I know what syllabubs is. Yes.
Why, I don't believe you do know what they are.
Not know what syllabubs are? That's a good idea. Why, they are only babies, idiotic children. That's a good idea. That's good.
Bumps head against Florence.
No, it's not a bit like the idea. What you mean are called cherubims.
What, those things that look like oranges with wings on them?
Not a bit like it. Well, after luncheon you must go with me, and I'll introduce you to my cousin Mary and Syllabubs.
I never saw Mr. Syllabubs, I am sure.
Well now, don't forget.
I never can forget. When I can recollect.
Then recollect that you have an appointment with me after luncheon.
Yes.
Well, what have you after luncheon?
Well, sometimes I have a glass of brandy with an egg in it, sometimes a one round the duck pond, sometimes a game of checkers, that's for exercise, and perhaps a game of billiards.
No, you have with me after luncheon an appointment.
An ointment, that's the idea.
Knocks against De Boots as they go upstage. Aside.
That artful girl has designs upon Lord Dundreary. Augusta, dear, go and see how your poor dear sister is this morning.
Yes, mamma.
Exit.
She is a great sufferer, my dear.
Yes, but a lonely one.
What sort of a night had she?
Oh, a very refreshing one, thanks to the draught you were kind enough to prescribe for her, Lord Dundreary.
What? Has Lord Dundreary been prescribing for Georgina?
Yes. You see, I gave her a draught that cured the effect of the draught, and that draught was a draught that didn't pay the doctor's bill. Didn't that draught...
Good gracious, what a number of draughts. You almost have a game of draughts. What's the matter?
That was a joke, that was.
Where's the joke?
Dundreary screams and turns to Mrs. Mountchessington.
No.
She don't see it. Don't you see? A game of draughts. Pieces of round wood on square pieces of leather. That's the idea. Now I want to put your brains to the test. I want to ask you a rhyme.
A whime? What's that?
A rhyme is a riddle, you know.
A riddle?
Yes, one of those things like, why is so-and-so or somebody like somebody else?
Oh, I see. You mean a conundrum.
Yes, the drum, that's the idea. What is it gives a cold in the head, cures the cold, pays the doctor's bill, and makes the home guard look for substitutes?
What is it gives a cold in the head, cures a cold, pays the doctor's bill, and makes the home guard look for substitutes?
Yes, do you give it up?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you. A draft. Now I've got a better one than that. When is a dog's tail not a dog's tail?
Florence repeats. During this time, Florence, Mrs. Mountchessington, and Dundreary are down stage.
When is a dog's tail not a dog's tail?
Yes, do you give it up?
Yes, and willingly.
When it's a cart.
They look at him inquiringly.
Why, what on earth has a dog's tail to do with a cart?
When it moves about, you know. A horse makes a cart move, so does a dog make his tail move.
Oh, I see what you mean. When it's a wagon.
Wags the letter in her hand.
Well, a wagon and a cart are the same thing, ain't they? That's the idea. It's the same thing.
They are not the same. In the case of your conundrum, there's a very great difference.
Now, I've got another. Why does a dog waggle his tail?
Upon my word, I never inquired.
Because the tail can't waggle the dog.
Ha. Is that your own, Dundreary?
Now I've got one, and this one is original.
No, don't spoil the last one.
Yes, but this is extremely interesting.
Do you think so, Lord Dundreary?
Yes, Miss Georgina likes me to tell her my jokes. By the by, talking of that lonely sufferer, isn't she an interesting invalid? They do say that's what's the matter with me. I'm an interesting invalid.
Oh, that accounts for what I have heard so many young ladies say. Florence, dear, don't you think Lord Dundreary is extremely interesting? I never knew what they meant before.
Yes, the doctor recommends me to drink donkey's milk.
Florence, hiding laugh.
Oh, what a clever man he must be. He knows we generally thrive best on our native food.
Goes up. Dundreary, looking first at Florence and then at Mrs. Mountchessington.
I'm so weak, and that is so strong. Yes, I'm naturally very weak, and I want strengthening. Yes, I guess I'll try it.
Enter Augusta, business with Dundreary, who finally exits and brings on Georgina.
Look at this lonely sufferer.
Bringing on Georgina, seats her on sofa.
There, repose yourself.
Georgina fanning herself.
Oh, thank you, my lord. Everyone is kind to me, and I am so delicate.
Augusta at table.
Captain De Boots, do help to unravel these wools for me. You have such an eye for colour.
An eye for colour? Yes, especially green.
What's the matter?
Why, that was a joke, that was.
Where was the joke?
Especially.
Florence, dear, I must leave you to represent me to my guests. These letters will give me a great deal of business today.
Well, Papa, remember, I am your little clerk and person of all work.
No. This is private business, money matters, my love, which women know nothing about.
Aside.
Luckily for them. I expect Mr. Coyle today.
Dear Papa, how I wish you would get another agent.
Nonsense, Florence. Impossible. He knows my affairs. His father was agent for the late baronet. He's one of the family almost.
Papa, I have implicit faith in my own judgment of faces. Depend upon it, that man is not to be trusted.
Florence, you are ridiculous. I could not get on a week without him.
Aside.
Curse him? I wish I could. Coyle is a most intelligent agent, and a most faithful servant of the family.
Enter Binny.
Mr. Coyle, an agent, with papers.
Show him into the library. I will be with him presently.
Exit Binny.
Remember the archery meeting, Papa. It is at 3.
Yes, I remember.
Aside.
Pretty time for such levity when ruin stares me in the face. Florence, I leave you as my representative.
Aside.
Now, to prepare myself to meet my Shylock.
Exit.
Why will Papa not trust me?
Vernon comes down.
Oh, Harry, I wish he would find out what a lot of pluck and common sense there is in this featherhead of mine.
Miss Florence, will you be kind enough to tell Miss Georgina all about that American relative of yours?
Oh, about my American cousin? Certainly.
Aside to Harry.
Let's have some fun. Well, he's about 17 feet high.
Good gracious! 17 feet high!
They are all 17 feet high in America, ain't they, Mr. Vernon?
Yes, that's about the average height.
And they have long black hair that reaches down to their heels. They have dark copper-coloured skin, and they fight with... what do they fight with, Mr. Vernon?
Tomahawks and scalping knives.
Yes, and you'd better take care, Miss Georgina, or he'll take his tomahawk and scalping knife and scalp you immediately.
Georgina screams and faints.
Here, somebody get something and throw over her. A pail of water. No, not that. She's pale enough already.
Fans her with handkerchief.
Georgina, don't be afraid. Dundreary's by your side. He will protect you.
Don't be frightened, Georgina. He will never harm you while Dundreary is about. Why, he could get 3 scalps here.
Pulls Dundreary's whiskers. Georgina screams.
Ah! Don't scream. I won't lose my whiskers. I know what I'll do for my own safety. I will take this handkerchief and tie the roof of my head on.
Ties it on. Pretending to cry.
Oh, goodbye, Dundreary. I'll never see you again in all your glory.
Don't cry, Miss Florence. I'm ready for Mr. Tommyhawk.
Enter Binny.
If you please, miss, here's a gent what says he's expected.
What's his name? Where's his card?
He didn't tell me his name, miss, and when I haxed him for his card, he said he had a whole pack in his valise, and if I'd had a mind, he'd play me a game of 7-up. He says he has come to stay, and he certainly looks as if he didn't mean to go.
That's him. Show him in, Mr. Binny.
Exit Binny.
That's my American cousin, I know.
Augusta romantically.
Your American cousin? Oh, how delightfully romantic. Isn't it, Captain De Boots?
Comes down.
I can imagine the wild young hunter, with the free step and majestic mien of the hunter of the forest.
Asa outside.
Consign your picture? Didn't I tell you I was expected? You are as obstinate as Deacon Stump's forelock, that wouldn't lie down and couldn't stand up, wouldn't plant forward and couldn't go backward.
Enter Asa, carrying a valise.
Where's the squire?
Do you mean Sir Edward Trenchard, sir?
Yes.
He is not present, but I am his daughter.
Well, I guess that'll fit about as well as if you tell this darned old shote to take me to my room.
What does he mean by shote?
Binny, taking valise.
He means me, Mom. But what he wants...
Hurry up, old hoss.
He calls me an oss, Mix. I suppose I shall be a hox next. Or perhaps an og.
Well, darn me if you ain't the consarnedest old shote I ever did see since I was baptized Asa Trenchard.
Ah, then it is our American cousin. Glad to see you. My brother told us to expect you.
Well, yes, I guess you do belong to my family. I'm Asa Trenchard, born in Vermont, suckled on the banks of Muddy Creek. About the tallest gunner, the slickest dancer, and generally the loudest critter in the state. You're my cousin, be you? Well, I ain't got no objections to kiss you, as one cousin ought to kiss another.
Sir, how dare you?
Are you one of the family? 'Cause if you ain't, you've got no right to interfere. And if you be, you needn't be alarmed. I ain't going to kiss you. Here's your young man's letter.
Gives letter and attempts to kiss her.
In the old country, Mr. Trenchard, cousins content themselves with hands, but our hearts are with them. You are welcome. There is mine.
Gives her hand, which he shakes heartily.
That'll do about as well. I won't kiss you if you don't want me to, but if you did, I wouldn't stop on account of that sailor man. Oh, now, you needn't get your back up. What an all-fired chap you are. Now, if you'll have me shown to my room, I should like to fix up a bit and put on a clean bosom. Why, what on earth is the matter with you all? I only spoke because you're so all fired go-to-meeting like.
Show Mr. Trenchard to the red room, Mr. Binny. That is, if you are done with it, Mr. Dundreary.
Yes, Miss Florence. The room and I have got through with each other, yes.
Asa and Dundreary see each other for the first time. Business of recognition, ad lib.
Concentrated essence of baboons. What on earth is that?
He's mad. Yes, Miss Florence, I've done with that room. The rooks crowed so that they racked my brain.
You don't mean to say that you've got any brains?
No, sir. Such a thing never entered my head. The Wed Indians want to scalp me.
Holding hands to his head.
The red room, then, Mr. Binny.
Asa to Binny.
Hold on.
Examines him.
Well, darn me, but you keep your help in all-fired good order here.
Feels of him.
This old shoat is fat enough to kill.
Hits Binny in stomach. Binny runs off.
Mind how you go upstairs, old hoss, or you'll bust your biler.
Exit.
Now he thinks Binny's an engine and has got a boiler.
Oh, what fun.
Old Mark Trenchard died very rich, did he not, Florence?
Very rich, I believe.
He's not at all romantic, is he, Mamma?
Aside to her.
My dear, I have no doubt he has solid good qualities, and I don't want you to laugh at him like Florence Trenchard.
No, Mamma, I won't.
But what are we to do with him?
What is the matter?
I've got an idea.
Oh, let's hear Dundreary's idea.
It's so seldom I get an idea that when I do get one, it startles me. Let us get a pickle bottle.
Pickle bottle?
All come down.
Yes, one of those things with glass sides.
Enter Asa.
Oh, you mean a glass case?
Yes, a glass case. That's the idea. And let us put this Mr. Thomas Hawke in it and have him on exhibition. That's the idea.
Asa, down left of Florence, overhearing.
Oh, that's your idea, is it? Wow, stranger, I don't know what they're going to do with me, but wherever they do put me, I hope it will be out of the reach of a jackass. I'm a real hoss, I am, and I get kinder riley with those critters.
Now he thinks he's a horse. I've heard of a great jackass, and I dreamt of a jackass, but I don't believe there is any such insect.
Well, cousin, I hope you made yourself comfortable.
Well, no, I can't say as I did. You see, there was so many all-fired fixins in my room, I couldn't find anything I wanted.
What was it you couldn't find in your own room?
There was no soft soap.
Soft soap?
Soft soap?
Soft soap?
Soft soap?
Soft soap?
Soft soap?
Yes, soft soap. I reckon you know what that is. However, I struck a pump in the kitchen, slicked my hair down a little, gave my boots a lick of grease, and now I feel quite handsome. But I'm everlastingly dry.
You'll find ale, wine, and luncheon on the side table.
Well, I don't know as I've got any appetite. You see, coming along on the cars, I worried down half a dozen ham sandwiches, 8 or 10 boiled eggs, 2 or 3 pumpkin pies, and a string of cold sausages, and, well, I guess I can hold on till dinner time.
Did that illustrious exile eat all that? I wonder where he put it.
I'm as dry as a sap tree in August.
Binny, throwing open door.
Luncheon.
Asa goes hastily up to table.
Well, I don't want to speak out too plain, but this is an awful mean set-out for a big house like this.
Why, what's wrong, sir?
Why, there's no mush. Nary slapjack.
Why, does he want Mary to slap Jack?
No pork and beans.
Pork's been here, but he's left.
And where on earth's the clam chowder?
Where is clam chowder? He's never here when he's wanted.
Here's your health, old hoss.
Drinks and spits.
Do you call that a drink? See here, cousin, you seem to be the liveliest critter here. So just hurry up the fixins, and I'll show this benighted aristocratic society what real liquor is. So hurry up the fixins.
Fixins?
What do you mean by fixins?
Why, brandy, rum, gin, and whiskey. We'll make them all useful.
Oh, I'll hurry up the fixins. What fun.
Exit.
Oh, I thought he meant the gas fixins.
Say you Mr. Puffy, you run out and get me a bunch of mint and a bundle of straws. Hurry up, old hoss.
Exit Binny indignantly.
Say, Mr. Sailor Man, just help me down with this table. Oh, don't you get riley. You and I ran against each other when I came in, but we'll be friends yet.
Vernon helps him with table to center. Enter Florence, followed by servants in livery. They carry a case of decanters and water, on which are 7 or 8 glasses, 2 or 3 tin mixers, and a bowl of sugar. Binny enters with a bunch of mint and a few straws.
Here, cousin, are the fixins.
That's your sort. Now then, I'll give you all a drink that'll make you squeal.
To Binny.
Here, Puffy, just shake that up. Faster. I'll give that sick gal a drink that'll make her squirm like an eel on a mud bank.
Oh, what a horrible idea.
Runs about stage.
Oh, don't mind him. That's only an American joke.
A joke? Do you call that a joke? To make a thick girl squirm like a mud bank on an eel's skin?
Yes, I'll give you a drink that'll make your whiskers return under your chin, which is their natural location. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what'll you have? Whiskey skin, brandy smash, sherry cobbler, mint julep, or Jersey lightning?
Oh, I want a mint julep.
Give me a gin cocktail.
I'll take a sherry cobbler.
Brandy smash for me.
Give me a whiskey skin.
I'll take a lemonade.
Give me a Jersey lightning.
Give him a Jersey lightning.
As Dundreary drinks.
Warranted to kill at 40 rods.
Dundreary falls back on Mrs. Mountchessington and Georgina. Scene 2. Library in Trenchard Manor. Oriel window, left center, with curtains. 2 chairs and table brought on at change. Enter Binny and Coyle.
Sir Edward will see you directly, Mr. Coyle.
Very well. House full of company, I see, Mr. Binny.
Cram full, Mr. Coyle. As one of the first families in the country, we must keep up our position.
Coyle, rubbing his hands.
Certainly, certainly. That is, as long as we can, Mr. Binny. Tell Murcott, my clerk, to bring my papers in here. You'll find him in the servants' hall, and see that you keep your strong ale out of his way. People who serve me must have their senses about them.
Aside.
I should say so, or he'd have every tooth out of their heads, the wiper.
Exit.
And now to show this pompous baronet the precipice on which he stands.
Enter Murcott with green bag and papers.
Are you sober, sirrah?
Yes, Mr. Coyle.
Then see you keep so.
I'll do my best, sir, but oh, do tell them to keep liquor out of my way. I can't keep from it now, try as I will, and I try hard enough, God help me.
Pshaw. Get those mortgages and the letters from my London agent.
Murcott takes papers from bag and places them on table. Coyle looks off.
So, here comes Sir Edward. Go, but be within call. I may want you to witness a signature.
I will, sir.
Aside.
I must have brandy, or my hand will not be steady enough to write.
Exit. Enter Sir Edward. Coyle bows. Sir Edward, with affected ease.
Good morning, Coyle, good morning. There is a chair, Coyle.
They sit.
So you see, these infernal tradespeople are pretty troublesome.
My agent's letter this morning announces that Walter and Brass have got judgment and execution on their amount for repairing your townhouse last season.
Refers to papers.
Bouquet and Barker announced their intention of taking this same course with the wine account. Handmarth is preparing for a settlement of his heavy demand for the stables. Then there is Temper for pictures and other things, and Miss Florence Trenchard's account with Madame Pompon, and—
Confound it! Why harass me with details? These infernal particulars. Have you made out the total?
£4,830, 9 shillings and 6pence.
Well, of course we must find means of settling this extortion.
Yes, Sir Edward, if possible.
If possible?
I, as your agent, must stoop to detail. You must allow me to repeat. If possible.
Why? You don't say there will be any difficulty in raising the money?
What means would you suggest, Sir Edward?
That, sir, is your business.
A foretaste in the interest on the Fanhill and Ellenthrope mortgages. You are aware both are in the arrears. The mortgagees, in fact, write here to announce their intentions to foreclose.
Shows papers.
Curse your impudence. Pay them off.
How, Sir Edward?
Confound it, sir. Which of us is the agent? Am I to find you brains for your own business?
No, Sir Edward, I can furnish the brains, but what I ask of you is to furnish the money.
There must be money somewhere. I came into possession of one of the finest properties in Hampshire only 26 years ago, and now you mean to tell me I cannot raise £4,000?
The fact is distressing, Sir Edward, but so it is.
There's the Ravensdale property, unencumbered?
There, Sir Edward, you are under a mistake. The Ravensdale property is deeply encumbered, to nearly its full value.
Sir Edward, springing up.
Good heavens!
I have found among my father's papers a mortgage of that very property to him.
To your father? My father's agent?
Yes. Bearing date the year after the great contested election for the county, on which the late Sir Edward patriotically spent £60,000 for the honour of not being returned to Parliament.
A mortgage on Ravensdale estate. But it must have been paid off, Mr. Coyle. Have you looked for the release or the receipt?
Neither exists. My father's sudden death explains sufficiently. I was left in ignorance of the transaction, but the seals on the deed and the stamps are intact. Here it is, sir.
Shows it.
Sir, do you know that if this be true, I am something of a beggar, and your father something of a thief?
I see the first plainly, Sir Edward, but not the second.
Do you forget, sir, that your father was a charity boy, fed, clothed by my father?
Well, Sir Edward?
And do you mean to tell me, sir, that your father repaid that kindness by robbing his benefactor?
Certainly not, but by advancing money to that benefactor when he wanted it, and by taking the security of one of his benefactor's estates, as any prudent man would under the circumstances.
Why then, sir, the benefactor's property is yours.
Pardon me, the legal estate. You have your equity of redemption. You have only to pay the money, and the estate is yours as before.
How dare you, sir, when you have just shown me that I cannot raise £500 in the world? Oh, Florence, why did I not listen to you when you warned me against this man?
Aside.
She warned you, did she?
Aloud.
I see one means, at least, of keeping the Ravensdale estate in the family.
What is it?
By marrying your daughter to the mortgagee.
To you?
I am prepared to settle the estate on Miss Trenchard the day she becomes Mrs. Richard Coyle.
Sir Edward, springing up.
You insolent scoundrel! How dare you insult me in my own house, sir? Leave it, sir, or I will have you kicked out by my servants.
I never take an angry man at his word, Sir Edward. Give a few moments' reflection to my offer. You can have me kicked out afterwards.
Sir Edward, pacing stage.
A beggar. Sir Edward Trenchard, a beggar. See my children reduced to labour for their bread, to misery perhaps. But the alternative? Florence detests him. Still, the match would save her, at least from ruin. He might take the family name. I might retire to the continent for a few years. Florence's health may serve as a pretence. Repugnant as the alternative is, yet it deserves consideration.
Coyle, who has watched.
Now, Sir Edward, shall I ring for the servants to kick me out?
Nay, Mr. Coyle, you must pardon my outburst. You know I am hasty and...
Florence, without.
Papa, dear.
Enters gaily. Starts on seeing Coyle.
Papa, pardon my breaking in on business, but our American cousin has come. Such an original, and we are only waiting for you to escort us to the field.
I will come directly, my love. Mr. Coyle, my dear, you did not see him.
Florence, disdainfully.
Oh, yes, I saw him, Papa.
Nay, Florence. Your hand to Mr. Coyle.
Aside.
I insist.
Papa.
Frightened at his look, gives her hand. Coyle attempts to kiss it. She snatches it away and crosses to left. Sir Edward crosses to left.
Come, Florence. Mr. Coyle will join you in the park. Come, my love, take my arm.
Hurries her off.
Shallow, selfish fool. She warned you of me, did she? And you did not heed her. You shall both pay dearly. She for her suspicions, and you that you did not share them.
Walks up and down.
How lucky the seals were not cut from that mortgage when the release was given. 'Tis like the silly security of the Trenchards. This mortgage makes Ravensdale mine, while the release that restores it to its owner lies in the recess of the bureau, whose secret my father revealed to me on his deathbed.
Enter Murcott.
Write to the mortgagee of the Fanhill and Ellenthrope estates to foreclose before the week is out, and tell Walters and Brass to put in execution today. We'll prick this windbag of a baronet. Abel, we have both a bone to pick with him, and his daughter.
Murcott starts.
Why, what's the matter?
Nothing. The dizziness I've had lately.
Brandy in the evening, brandy in the morning, brandy all night. What a fool you are, Murcott.
Who knows that as well as I do?
If you would but keep the money out of your mouth, there's the making of a man in you yet.
No, it's gone too far. It's gone too far. Thanks to the man who owns this house, you know all about it. How he found me a thriving, sober lad, flogging the village children through their spelling book. How he took a fancy to me, as he called it, and employed me here to teach his son and Miss Florence. Then remember how I forgot who and what I was, and was cuffed out of the house like a dog. How I lost my school, my good name, but still hung about the place. They all looked askance at me. You don't know how that kills the heart of a man. Then I took to drink and sank down, till I came to this.
You owe Sir Edward revenge, do you not? You shall have a rare revenge on him. That mortgage you found last week puts the remainder of the property in my reach, and I close my hand on it unless he will consent to my terms.
You can drive a hard bargain, I know.
And a rare price I ask for his forbearance, Abel. His daughter's hand.
Florence?
Yes. Florence marries Richard Coyle. Richard Coyle steps into Sir Edward's estates. There, you dog! Will not that be a rare revenge? So follow me with those papers.
Crosses to left.
And now to lay the mine that will topple over the pride of the Trenchards.
Exit.
He marry Florence? Florence Trenchard? My Florence, mine? Florence his wife? No, better 1,000 times she had been mine, low as I am, when I dreamt that dream. But it shan't be.
Tremblingly putting papers in bag.
If I can help her, sot though I am. Yes, I can help her, if the shock don't break me down. Oh, my poor muddled brain! Surely there was a release with it when I found it. I must see Florence to warn her and expose Coyle's villainy. Oh, how my poor head throbs when I try to. I shall die if I don't have a drop of brandy. Yes, brandy.
Exit. Scene 3, chamber at Trenchard Manor. Large shower bath, toilet table with drawer. Small bottle in drawer with red sealing wax on cork. Asa discovered seated with foot on table, smoking a cigar. Valise on floor in front of him. Binny discovered standing by his side.
Well, I guess I begin to feel kinder comfortable here in this place. If it wa'n't for this tarnal fat critter, he don't seem to have any work to do, but swells out his big bosom like an old turkey cock in laying time. I do wonder what he's here for. Do they think I mean to absquatulate with the spoons?
Binny attempts to take valise. Asa puts his foot on it.
Let that sweat. That's my plunder.
Will you have the kindness to give me your keys, if you please, sir?
What do you want with my keys?
To put your things away in the wardrobe, sir.
Well, I calculate if my 2 shirts, 3 bosoms, 4 collars, and 2 pair of socks were to get into that everlasting big bunk, they'd think themselves so all-fired small, I should never be able to crawl into them again.
Will you take a bath before you dress?
Take a bath?
A bath.
I suppose you mean a bath. Well, man, I calculate I ain't going to expose myself to the shakes by getting into the cold water in this cruel cold climate of yours, so make tracks.
Make what?
Vamos.
Make vamoose?
Absquatulate.
What, sir?
Skedaddle.
Skedaddle?
Oh, get out.
Oh.
Going.
If you're going to dress, you'll want some assistance.
Assistance? What? To get out of my unmentionables and into them again? Well, suppose I do. What then?
Just ring the bell. I'll attend you.
All right, come along.
Binny going.
Hold on, say, I may want to yawn presently, and I shall want somebody to shut my mouth.
Binny hurries off.
While now I am alone, I can look about me and indulge the inquiring spirit of an American citizen. What an everlasting lot of things and fixins there is, to be sure.
Opens table drawer.
Here's a place will hold my plunder beautifully.
Sees bottle.
Hello, what's this? Something good to drink? It smells awful bad.
Reads label.
Golden fluid. One application turns the hair a beautiful brown. Several applications will turn the hair a lustrous black. Well, if they keep on, it may turn a pea green. I reckon this has been left here by some fellow who is ashamed of the natural color of his topknot.
Knock.
Come in.
Enter Binny.
Mr. Buddicombe, sir. My lord's own man.
Roll him in.
Binny beckons. Enter Buddicombe.
Turkey cock number 2. What is it?
My Lord Dundreary's compliments, and have you seen a small bottle in the toilet table drawer?
Suppose I had. What then?
My lord wants it particularly.
Was it a small bottle?
A small bottle.
Bottle, small.
Blue label?
Label, blue.
Red sealing wax on the top?
Red sealing wax.
Wax, red.
Nice little bottle?
Little bottle, nice.
Well, I ain't seen it.
Aside.
If my lord sets a valet on it, guess it must be worth something.
Sorry to trouble you, sir.
Binny, aside to Buddicombe.
What is it?
My lord's hair dye, the last bottle, and he turns red tomorrow.
Exit in haste.
Horrible. What a awful situation, to be sure.
Asa, aside.
So I've got my ring on that lord's nose, and if I don't make him dance to my tune, it's a pity.
Miss Florence begged me to say she had borrowed a costume for you, for the Harchery meeting, sir.
Ain't you dropped something?
Where?
What do you mean by the Harchery meeting?
Where they shoot with bows and arrows.
There goes another of them. Oh, you needn't look for them. You can't find 'em when you want 'em. Now, you just take my compliments to Miss Trenchard. When I goes out shooting with injurious weapons, I always wears my own genuine shooting costume. That's the natural buff tipped off with a little red paint.
Good gracious! He'd look like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Exit Binny.
Well, there's a queer lot of fixings.
Sees shower bath.
What on earth is that? Looks like a skeeter net, only it ain't long enough for a feller to lay down in, unless he was to coil himself up like a woodchuck in a knothole. I'd just like to know what the all-fired thing is meant for. Say, Puffy! Puffy! Oh, he told me if I wanted him to ring the bell.
Looks round room.
Where on earth is the bell?
Slips partly inside shower bath, pulls rope, water comes down.
Murder! Help! Fire! Water! I'm drowned!
Enter Skillet, Sharp, Binny, Buddicombe. Seeing Asa, all laugh and keep it up till curtain falls. End of Act 1. Act 2 of Our American Cousin by Tom Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1, Oriel Chamber in 1. Enter Mrs. Mountchessington and Augusta, dressed for archery meeting.
No, my dear Augusta, you must be very careful. I don't by any means want you to give up De Boots. His expectations are excellent, but pray be attentive to this American savage, as I rather think he will prove the better match of the two, if what I hear of Mark Trenchard's property be correct.
Yes, Ma.
And look more cheerful, my love.
I am so tired, Ma, of admiring things I hate.
Yes, my poor love. Yet we must all make sacrifices to society. Look at your poor sister with the appetite.
What am I to be enthusiastic about with that American, Ma?
Oh, I hardly know yet, my dear. We must study him. I think if you read up Sam Slick a little, it might be useful, and just dip into Bancroft's History of the United States, or some of Russell's letters. You should know something of George Washington, of whom the Americans are justly proud.
Here he comes, Ma. What a ridiculous figure he looks in that dress.
Hush, my dear.
Enter Asa in archery dress.
Oh, Mr. Trenchard, why did you not bring me one of those lovely Indian's dresses of your boundless prairie?
Yes, one of those dresses in which you hunt the buffalo.
Yes, in which you hunt the buffalo.
In which I hunt the buffalo?
Aside.
Buffaloes down in Vermont? Well, you see, them dresses are principally the natural skin, tipped off with paint, and the Indians object to parting with them.
Ahem.
The first buffalo I see about here, I shall hunt up for you.
Oh, you Americans are so clever, and so acute.
Yes, so cute.
Yes, we're cute, we are. No soft solder when we see it.
Aside.
Ma, I do believe he's laughing at us.
Oh, no, my dear, you are mistaken. Oh, I perceive they are appearing for the archery practice. I suppose we shall see you on the ground, Mr. Trenchard?
Yes, I'll be there like 1,000 of brick.
1,000 of brick?
Hush, my dear. That is doubtless some elegant American expression. Au revoir, Mr. Trenchard.
Which?
Au revoir.
Exit with Augusta.
No, thank you. Don't take any before dinner. No use their talking Dutch to me. Well, I never see an old gal stand fire like that. She's a real old bison bull. I feel all fired tuckered out riding in those keers. I'd like to have a snooze if I could find a place to lay down in.
Sees curtain on window.
Well, this might do.
Pulls curtain, then starts back.
No, you don't. One shower bath a day is enough for me.
Cautiously opens them.
No, I guess this is all right. I shall be just as snug in here as in a pew at meeting, or a private box in the theater. Hello, somebody's coming.
Goes into recess. Enter Dundreary and Buddicombe.
My lord. My lord. Your lordship?
Oh, there, now you've spoiled it.
Spoiled what, my lord?
Spoiled what, my lord? Why, a most magnificent sneeze.
I am very sorry, my lord.
Now that I can speak alone with you, tell me about that hair dye. Have you found it?
Not a trace of it, my lord.
If you don't find it, I'll discharge you.
Very well, my lord.
Bows and exits.
Very well, my lord. He's gone and lost my hair dye, and my hair turns red tomorrow. And when I ask him to find it for me or I'll discharge him, he says, 'Very well, my lord.' He's positively idiotic, he is. Ah, here comes Miss Georgina, that gorgeous creature, that lovely sufferer."
Exit. Asa looking out.
What's the price of hair dye? Hello, he's coming again with that sick girl.
Re-enter Dundreary and Georgina.
"Will you try and strengthen your limbs with a gentle walk in the garden?"
No, thank you, my lord. I'm so delicate. Oh, my lord, it is so painful to walk languidly through life, to be unable at times to bear the perfumes of one's favourite flowers. Even those violets you sent me yesterday I was compelled to have removed from my room. The perfume was too strong for me. I'm so delicate.
"Yes, Miss Georgina, but they're very strengthening flowers, you know."
Yes, my lord, you are always right.
"Do you know, I'm getting to be very robust."
Would I could share that fault with you, but I am so delicate.
"If you were robust, I should not love you as I do. It would deprive you of that charm which enchains me to your lovely side, which...
Oh, my lord, I'm going to faint."
"And I'm going to sneeze. You faint while I sneeze."
Georgina taking his arm.
"Oh, my lord."
"Do you know what a sneeze is?"
"No, my lord."
"Oh, so you never sneezed? I'll tell you what a sneeze is. Imagine a very large spider."
"Ah! Where, my lord?"
No, I don't mean a real spider, only an imaginary one. A large spider getting up your nose, and all of a sudden, much to his disgust, he discovers he has put his foot in it and can't get it out again."
That must be very distressing.
"For the spider, yes, and not very pleasant for the nose."
"Oh, my lord, do take me to mamma."
"No, you lovely sufferer. Let's walk a little more."
But I can't, my lord. I am so delicate."
"Well, then, exercise. Imitate that little hop of mine."
Hops.
"It isn't a one, it's a..."
"What is it?"
"No, it isn't a what is it. Well, let me suppose I get you an oyster."
Georgina shakes her head.
"Oh, then suppose I get you an oyster."
"No, my lord, I'm too delicate."
"How would you like the left wing of a canary bird?"
"No, my lord, it's too strong for me."
"Let me ask you a riddle. Why does a duck go under water?" "For diverse reasons. Now I'll give you another. Why does a duck come out of the water?" "For sundry reasons." No. See, you live on Saxon. You're like that bird with the long bill they call Doctor. No, that's not it. I thought it was a doctor because it has a long bill. I mean a snipe. Yes, you're a lovely snipe."
Exeunt. Asa looking after them.
There goes a load of wooden nutmegs. Hello, here comes somebody else.
Enter Florence with paper. Florence reads,
"One who still remembers what he ought long since to have forgotten wishes to speak with Miss Trenchard," Florence scratched out, "on matters of life or death near the Oriel in the West Gallery." Written upon a dirty sheet of paper in a hardly legible hand. What does this mean? It opens like one of Mrs. Radcliffe's romances. Well, here I am, and now for my correspondent.
Enter Murcott.
Oh, for 1 minute's clear head, Miss Florence.
I presume you are the writer of this?
Yes, I am.
You address me as an old acquaintance, but I do not recognize you.
So much the better, so much the better.
I hate mystery, sir, but you see I have come to the rendezvous. I must know to whom I am speaking.
As frank as ever. I am Abel Murcott.
Florence, starting back.
You?
Do not be ashamed. I have not the strength to injure you if I had the evil. In this shabby, broken-down drunkard you need not fear the madman, who years ago forgot in his frantic passion the gulf that lay between your station and his own. I am harmless, except to myself.
Speak on, sir. I hear you.
I need not tell you by what steps I came to this. You don't know, maybe you never knew, what a maddening thing a passion is when it turns against itself. After being expelled from my tutorship in this house, I lost my employment, self-respect, hope. I sought to drown recollection and draw courage from drink. It only embittered remembrances and destroyed the little courage I had left. That I have bread to eat I owe to Mr. Coyle. He employed me as his clerk. You know he has been with your father this morning. I have come to tell you my errand. Are you as brave as you used to be when I knew?
I fear nothing.
I come to tell you of your father's ruin, his utter ruin.
My father's ruin? What? What?
His estates are mortgaged, his creditors clamorous. The bailiffs will be in Trenchard Manor today, disguised as your own servants. This much Mr. Coyle has conceded to your father's respect for appearances.
Then beggary stares him in the face. Poor father, what a sad blow for him. Is that all, sir?
No, the worst remains.
Go on, sir.
Coyle knows your father's weakness, and as a means of escape from ruin to the verge of which he has brought him, he has this day proposed for your hand.
Mine?
On consideration of settling on you the Ravensdale estate.
And my father? How did he listen to such insolence?
You know as well as I do how he would hear such a proposal. At first a torrent of rage, then the strong ebb of selfishness set in, and he consented to listen to the terms, to view them as something to be considered, to consider them.
Good heavens! Can this be true? No, I will not believe it of my father, and from such lips.
You have full right to think this and to say it, but mark your father and Coyle today. You will then see if I speak truth or not.
Forgive my distrust, Mr. Murcott.
I am past taking offence or feeling scorn. I have carried more than can be heaped upon me. But I did not come only to give you warning of your danger.
Can you avert it?
Asa, coming down between them.
Well, stranger, that's just the question I was going to ask.
You here, sir, and listening?
Well, it wasn't purpose. I went in there to take a snooze. I heard you talking, and I thought it wouldn't be polite of me not to listen to what you had to say. I'm a rough sort of a customer and don't know much about the ways of great folks. But I've got a cool head, a stout arm, and a willing heart, and I think I can help you just as one cousin ought to help another.
Well, I do think you are honest.
Shall I go on?
Yes, we will trust him. Go on.
I found the Ravensdale mortgage while rummaging in an old deed box of Coyle's father's. There was a folded paper inside the deed. I took both to Coyle unopened, like a besotted fool that I was. My belief is strong that the paper was the release of the mortgage, that the money had been paid off, and the release executed without the seals having been cut from the original mortgage. I have known such things happen.
Have you now? Well, if a Yankee lawyer had done such a thing, he would have Judge Lynch after him in no time.
You can but find that release. We may unmask this diabolical fiend and save you.
But surely a villain of Coyle's stability would have destroyed the paper, the very keystone of his fraud.
I fear so.
Do you now? Well, you're wrong. You're both wrong. I guess you ain't either on you done much ciphering human nature. The keystone of their fraud is just the point your mighty cute rascals always leave unsecured. Come along with me, stranger, and we'll just work up this sum a little. 2 heads are better than 1. Yours is a little muddled, but mine's pretty clear, and if I don't circumvent that old sarpent, Coyle...
Well?
Say I am a skunk, that's all, and that's the meanest kind of an animal.
Exit.
I owe you much, Mr. Murcott, more than I can ever repay.
No. If you did but know the hope of seeing you has roused all the manhood that drink and misery has left me. God bless you, Miss Florence.
No, you don't call me Florence as you did when I was the truant pupil and you the indulgent tutor.
Offers her hand.
No. For heaven's sake, do not call back that time, or I shall go mad.
Rushes off, followed by Florence. Scene 2, Park. Rural cottage adjoining which, and projecting on stage an inside view of a dairy with sloping roof, painting backing to look like milk pans. The whole scene should have a picturesque appearance. Garden fence run across back, ornamental gate or archway, pigeon house on pole near dairy, spinning wheel inside cottage door, 1 or 2 rustic benches. Enter John with 2 milk pails on a yoke, puts them down near dairy, then looks off.
There they go. That's a bullseye, I warrant. Dang me, though, if I wouldn't rather see Miss Mary than this cock-robin sports yonder. Here she comes. Good morning, Miss Mary.
Enter Mary from cottage.
Oh, Wickens, you are there! How kind of you to help me with the milk pails today, when all the lads and lasses have given themselves a holiday to see the shooting.
Ah, Miss Mary, you ought to be among them, with a green hat and feather, if all had their rights.
Nay, ladies without a farthing in the world ought to put aside their ladyship and make themselves. Besides, I am proud of my dairy hair. Just help me with this troublesome fellow. Steady, don't shake it. The cream is foaming so beautifully. There.
John carries pan into cottage and returns.
Now, Miss Mary, what can I do for you?
Let me see. Well, really, I do believe, Wickens, I've nothing to do but amuse myself.
Dang it, miss, that's a pity, 'cause I can't help you at that, you see.
Oh, yes. Bring me out there old Welsh nurse's spinning wheel.
Exit John into cottage.
By the side of which I have stood so often, a round-eyed baby wondering at its whirring wheel.
Re-enter John with wheel. Places it near cottage.
There, that will do famously. I can catch the full scent of the jessamines.
Anything more, Miss Mary?
No, thank you, Wickens.
Going.
Good morning, Miss Mary.
Good morning, Wickens.
John, returning.
Is there anything I can get for you, Miss Mary?
Mary, spinning.
Nothing, thank you.
Dang me, if I wouldn't like to stop all day and watch her pretty figure and run errands for her.
Exit, crosses behind fence.
Poor Wickens is not the only one who thinks I am a very ill-used young body. Now, I don't think so. Grandfather was rich, but he must have had a bad heart, or he never could have cast off poor mamma. Had he adopted me, I should never have been so happy as I am now. Uncle is kind to me in his pompous, patronizing way, and dear Florence loves me like a sister, and I am so happy. I am my own mistress here, and not anybody's humble servant. I sometimes find myself singing as the birds do, because I can't help it.
Song made with the milking pail can be introduced here. Enter Florence and Asa through gate.
Come along, cousin, come along. I want to introduce you to my little cousin.
Kisses Mary.
I've brought you a visitor. Miss Mary Meredith, Mr. Asa Trenchard, our American cousin.
They shake hands.
That will do for the present. This young gentleman has carried off the prize by 3 successive shots in the bullseye.
I congratulate you, sir, and I'm happy to see you.
Asa shakes hands again.
Thank you, miss.
That will do for a beginning.
Aside.
And so that is Mark Trenchard's grandchild.
Why have you left the archery, Florence?
because, after Mr. Asa's display, I felt in no humour for shooting, and I have some very grave business with my cousin here.
You? Grave business? Why, I thought you never had any graver business than being very pretty, very amiable, and very ready to be amused.
Well, miss, I guess the first comes natural around these diggins.
Bows.
You are very polite. This is my domain, sir, and I shall be happy to show you, that is, if you understand anything about dairy.
Yes, by the way, do you understand anything about dairies in America?
Well, I guess I do know something about cow juice.
They turn to smother laugh.
Why, if it ain't all as bright and clean as a fresh-washed shirt just off the clover. And is this all your doings, miss?
Yes, sir. I milk the cows, set up the milk, superintend the churning, and make the cheese.
Wow, darn me if you ain't the first right down useful gal I've seen on this side the pond.
What's that, sir? Do you want to make me jealous?
Oh, no, you needn't get your back up. You are the right sort, too, but you must own your small potatoes, and few in a hill compared to a gal like that.
I'm what?
Small potatoes.
Will you be kind enough to translate that for me, for I don't understand American yet.
Yes, I'll put it in French for you. Petit pomme de terres.
Ah, it's, very clear now, but, cousin, do tell me what you mean by calling me small potatoes.
Well, you can sing and paint and play on the piano, and in your own particular circle you are some pumpkins.
Some pumpkins? First, I am small potatoes, and now I'm some pumpkins.
But she can milk cows, set up the butter, make cheese, and darn me if them ain't what I call downright feminine accomplishments.
I do believe you are right, cousin. So, Mary, do allow me to congratulate you upon not being small potatoes.
Well, I must look to my dairy, or all my last week's milk will be spoiled. Goodbye, Florence, dear. Goodbye, Mr. Trenchard. Good morning, sir.
Exit into cottage. Asa, following her to door.
Good morning, miss. I'll call again.
Well, cousin, what do you think of her?
Ain't she a regular snorter?
A what?
Well, perhaps I should make myself more intelligible if I said a squealer. And to think I'm keeping that everlasting angel of a gal out of her fortune all along of this bit of paper here.
What is that?
Takes paper from pocket.
Old Mark Trenchard's will.
Don't show it to me. I don't want to look at it. The fortune should have come to Mary. She's the only relation in the direct line.
Say, cousin, you've not told her that darn property was left to me, have you?
Do you think I had the heart to tell her of her misfortune?
Well, darn me if you didn't show your good sense, at any rate.
Goes up to dairy.
Well, what are you doing, showing your good sense?
Oh, you go along.
Say, cousin, I guess I've got you on a string now, as I heard you say this morning.
Well, what if you have? Didn't I see you casting sheep's eyes at that sailor man this morning? Aha! I reckon I've got you on a string now. Say, has he got that ship yet?
No, he hasn't, though I've used all my powers of persuasion with that Lord Dundreary, and his father has so much influence with the Admiralty.
Well, didn't he drop like a smoked possum?
There you go, more American. No, he said he was very sorry, but he couldn't.
Asa, taking bottle out.
Oh, he did he? Well, I guess he'll do his best all the same.
I shall be missed at the archery grounds. Will you take me back?
Like a streak of lightning.
Offers arm and takes her to dairy.
That's not the way.
No, of course not.
Takes her round stage back to dairy.
Well, but where are you going now?
I was just going round. I say, cousin, don't you think you could find your way back alone?
Why, what do you want to do?
Well, I just wanted to see how they make cheese in this darn country.
Exits into dairy.
And they call that man a savage. Well, I only wish we had a few more such savages in England.
Dundreary, without.
This way, lovely sufferer.
Ah, here's Dundreary.
Dundreary enters with Georgina, places her in rustic chair.
There, repose yourself.
Thank you, my lord. You are so kind to me, and I am so delicate.
Yes, you look delicate, dear. How is she this morning? Any better?
When she recovers, she'll be better.
I'm afraid you don't take good enough care of her. You are so rough.
No, I'm not rough either. I'm gentle and I'm kind. I forget the rest.
Well, good morning, dear. Do take care of her. Good day, Dundreary.
Exit through gate.
Now, let me administer to your wants. How would you like a roast chestnut?
No, my lord, I'm too delicate.
Well then, a peanut. There is a great deal of nourishment in peanuts.
No, thank you.
Then, what can I do for you?
If you please, ask the dairymaid to let me have a seat in the dairy. I'm afraid of the draught here.
Oh, you want to get out of the draught, do you? Well, you're not the only one that wants to escape the draught. Is that the dairy on top of that stick?
No, my lord, that's the pigeon house.
What do they keep in pigeon houses? Oh, pigeons, to be sure. They couldn't keep donkeys up there, could they? That's the dairy, I suppose.
Yes, my lord.
What do they keep in dairies?
Eggs, milk, butter and cheese.
What's the name of that animal with the head on it? No, I don't mean that. All animals have heads. I mean, those animals with something growing out of their heads.
A cow?
A cow growing out of its head?
No, horns.
A cow? Well, that accounts for the milk and butter, but I don't see the eggs. Cows don't give eggs. Then there's the cheese. Do you like cheese?
No, my lord.
Does your brother like cheese?
I have no brother. I'm so delicate.
She's so delicate she hasn't got a brother. Well, if you had a brother, do you think he would like cheese?
I don't know. Do please take me to the dairy.
Well, I will see if I can get you a broiled sardine.
Exit into dairy. Georgina jumps up.
Oh, I'm so glad he's gone. I am so dreadful hungry. I should like a plate of corned beef and cabbage, eggs and bacon, or a slice of cold ham and pickles.
Dundreary, outside.
Thank you, thank you.
Georgina, running back to seat.
Here he comes. Oh, I am so delicate.
Enter Dundreary.
I beg your pardon, Miss Georgina, but I find upon inquiry that cows don't give sardines. But I've arranged it with the dairymaid so that you can have a seat by the window that overlooks the cowhouse and the pigsty and all the pretty things.
I'm afraid I'm very troublesome.
Yes, you're very troublesome, you are. No, I mean you're a lovely sufferer. That's the idea.
They go up to cottage door. Enter Asa, running against Dundreary.
Oh, there's that damned rhinoceros again.
Exit into cottage with Georgina.
There goes that benighted aristocrat and that little toad of a sick gal.
Looks off.
There he's a-settling her in a chair and covering her all over with shawls. Ah, it's a caution. How these women do fix our flint for us. Here he comes.
Takes out bottle.
How are you, Hair Dye?
Goes behind dairy. Enter Dundreary.
That lovely Georgina puts me in mind of that beautiful piece of poetry. Let me see how it goes. The rose is red, the violet's blue.
Asa tips his hat over his eyes.
The rose is red, the violet's blue.
Asa repeats business. Dundreary comes down, takes off hat, looking in it.
There must be something alive in that hat.
Goes up and commences again.
The rose is red, the violet's blue, sugar is sweet, and so is somebody, and so is somebody else.
Asa puts yoke on Dundreary's shoulders gently. Dundreary comes down with pails.
I wonder what the devil that is.
Lowers one, then the other. They trip him up.
Oh, I see. Somebody has been fishing and caught a pail.
Goes hopping upstage, stumbling over against spinning wheel. Looks at yarn on stick.
Why, what a little old man.
Sees Asa.
Say, Mr. Exile, what the devil is this?
That is a steam engine and will bust in about a minute.
Well, I haven't a minute to spare, so I'll not wait till it busts.
Crosses to right, knocks against private box, apologizes.
Say, Whiskers, I want to ask a favor of you.
Now I've got it.
Well, but say.
Asa takes his hand.
How are you?
Squeezes it.
Oh, there, you spoiled it.
Spoiled what?
Spoiled what? Why, a magnificent sneeze.
Oh, was that what you was trying to get through you?
Get through me? He's mad.
Well, now, the naked truth is...
Leans arm on Dundreary's shoulder. Business by Dundreary.
Oh, come now, don't be putting on airs. Say, do you know Lieutenant Vernon?
Slightly.
Well, what do you think of him on an average?
Think of a man on an average?
Well, I think he's a real hoss, and he wants a ship.
Well, if he's a real hoss, he must want a carriage.
Darn me if that ain't good.
That's good.
Yes, that is good.
Very good.
Very good indeed, for you.
Oh, now I've got it.
Well, now, I say. What, are you at that again?
Dundreary business. Asa bites his finger. Dundreary goes up, stumbles against chair, and comes down again.
I've got the influenza.
Got the what?
He says I've got a wart. I've got the influenza.
That's it exactly. I want your influence, sir, to get that ship.
That's good.
Yes, that's good, ain't it?
Very good.
Yes, darn me if that ain't good.
For you. What on that, Yankee?
Well done, Britisher. Well, now, about that ship.
I want all my influence, sir, for my own relations.
Oh, you want it for your own relations.
I say, sir.
Asa pretends deafness. This business is ad lib.
Eh?
He's hard of hearing and thinks he's in a balloon. Mister.
Eh?
He thinks he can hear with his nose. I say.
Eh?
Dundreary turns Asa's nose round with his thumb. Asa puts his two hands up to Dundreary's.
Now he thinks he's a musical instrument. I say.
What?
You stutter, I'll give you a
No, you won't give me a kick.
I'll give you a card to a doctor, and he'll
No, he won't kick me either.
He's idiotic. I don't mean that. He'll cure you.
Same one that cured you?
The same.
Well, if you're cured, I want to stay sick. He might be a mighty smart man.
A very clever man he is.
Well, darn me if there ain't a psychological change taking place. Your whiskers at this moment.
My whiskers?
Yes, about the ends they're as black as niggers in billing time, and near the roots they're all speckled and streaked.
My whiskers speckled and streaked.
Asa, showing bottle.
Now this is a wonderful invention.
My hair dye, my dear sir.
Asa, squeezing his hand.
How are you?
Dear Mr. Trenchard.
Puts arm on shoulder. Asa repeats Dundreary business, putting on eyeglass, hopping round the stage and stroking whiskers.
He's mad, he's deaf, he squints, stammers, and he's a hopper.
Now look here, you get the lieutenant a ship and I'll give you the bottle. It's a fine swap.
What the devil is a swap?
Well, you give me the ship and I'll give you the bottle to boot.
What do I want of your boots? I haven't got a ship about me.
You'd better make haste or your whiskers will be changed again. They'll be a pea green in about a minute.
Dundreary crosses left.
Pea green?
Exits hastily into house.
I guess I've got a ring in his nose now. I wonder how that sick gal is getting along. Well, darn me if the darn swallow ain't pitching into ham and eggs and homemade bread, while she's a-walking into the fodder like a farmer oughter a day's work rail-splitting. I'll just give her a start. How-do, miss? Allow me to congratulate you on the return of your appetite. Guess I've got a ring in her pretty nose now.
Looks off.
Hello, here comes the liquors and shooters. It's about time I took my medicine, I reckon.
Enter Sir Edward, Miss Mountchessington, Florence, Vernon, Augusta, De Boots, Wickens, Coyle, Sharp, Binny, Skillet, Buddicombe, 2 servants in livery carrying a tray and glasses, a wine basket containing 4 bottles to represent champagne, knife to cut strings, some powerful acid in 1 bottle for Asa, pop sure.
Now to distribute the prizes, and drink to the health of the winner of the golden arrow.
And there must stand the hero of the day. Come, kneel down.
Must I kneel down?
I'm going to crown you captain of the archers of Trenchard Manor.
Asa, aside to Florence.
I've got the ship.
No, have you?
Come, ladies and gentlemen, take from me.
Takes glasses. Starts on seeing men in livery.
Who are these strange faces?
Coyle, in his ear.
Bailiffs, Sir Edward.
Bailiffs? Florence, I am lost.
Florence supports her father. At the same moment, Dundreary enters with letter and money. Georgina appears at dairy door as Dundreary comes down. Asa cuts string of bottle. Cork hits Dundreary. General commotion as drop descends. End of Act 2. Act 3 of Our American Cousin by Tom Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. Dairy, set as before in Act 2, Scene 2. Asa discovered on bench whittling stick. Mary busy with milk pans in dairy.
Miss Mary, I wish you'd leave off those everlasting dairy fixins and come and take a hand of chat along with me.
What, and leave my work? Why, when you first came here, you thought I could not be too industrious.
Well, I think so yet, Miss Mary, but I've got a heap to say to you, and I never can talk while you're moving about so spry among them pans, pails, and cheeses. First you raise one hand, and then the other, and, well, it takes the gumption right out of me.
Mary brings sewing down.
Well then, I'll sit here.
Sits on bench with Asa, vis-a-vis.
Well now, will that do?
Well, no, Miss Mary, that won't do neither. Them eyes of yourn takes my breath away.
What will I do then?
Well, I don't know, Miss Mary, but darn me, if you could do anything that wasn't so tarnal neat and handsome that a fellow would want to keep on doing nothing else all the time.
Well then, I'll go away. Then throw away that stick and put away your knife, like a good boy.
Rises. Asa, stopping her.
No, don't do that, Miss Mary, for then I'll be left in total darkness.
She sits.
Somehow I feel kinder lost if I haven't got you to talk to. Now that I've got the latitude and longitude of all them big folks, found out the length of every lady's foot and the soft spot on everybody's head, they can't teach me nothing. But here,
whittling,
here I come to school.
Then throw away that stick and put away your knife, like a good boy.
Throws away stick upstage.
I must cure you of that dreadful trick of whittling.
Oh, if you only knew how it helps me to keep my eyes off you, Miss Mary.
But you needn't keep your eyes off me.
I'm afraid I must. My eyes are awful tale-tellers, and they might be saying something you wouldn't like to hear. And that might make you mad, and then you'd shut up school and send me home feeling about as small as a tadpole with his tail bobbed off.
Don't be alarmed. I don't think I will listen to any tales that your eyes may tell, unless they're tales I like and ought to hear.
If I thought they'd tell any other, Miss Mary, I'd pluck them right out and throw them in the first turnip patch I came to.
And now tell me more about your home in America. Do you know, I've listened to your stories until I'm half a backwoods man's wife already.
Aside.
Wouldn't I like to make her a whole one?
Yes, I can shut my eyes and almost fancy I see her home in the backwoods. There are your two sisters running about in their sunbonnets.
Debbie and Nan? Yes.
Then I can see the smoke curling from the chimney, then men and boys working in the fields.
Yes.
The girls milking the cows, and everybody so busy.
Yes.
And then at night, home come your 4 big brothers from the hunt laden with game, tired and footsore, and covered with snow.
That's so.
Then how we lasses bustle about to prepare supper. The fire blazes on the hearth, while your good old mother cooks the slapjacks.
Yes.
And then, after supper, the lads and lasses go to a corn-husking. The demijohn of old peach brandy is brought out, and everything is so nice.
I shall faint in about 5 minutes, Miss Mary. You're a darn sight too good for this country. You ought to make tracks.
Make what?
Make tracks. Pack up. And emigrate to the roaring old state of Vermont. And live long with Mother. She'd make you so comfortable, and there would be Sister Debbie and Nan, and, well, I reckon I'd be there, too.
Oh, I'm afraid if I were there, your mother would find the poor English girl a sad encumbrance.
Oh, she ain't proud, not a mite. Besides, they've all seen Britishers afore.
I suppose you allude to my cousin, Edward Trenchard.
Well, he wa'n't the only one. There was the old squire, Mark Trenchard.
Mary, starting aside.
My grandfather.
Oh, he was a fine old hoss, as game as a bison bull, and as gray as a coon in the fall. You see, he was kind of mad with his folks here, so he came over to America to look after the original branch of the family. That's our branch. We're older than the Trenchards on this side of the water. Yes, we've got the start of the heap.
Tell me, Mr. Trenchard, did he never receive any letters from his daughter?
Oh, yes, lots of them. But the old cuss never read them, though. He chucked them in the fire as soon as he made out who they come from.
Aside.
My poor mother.
You see, as nigh as we could reckon it up, she had gone and got married again his will. And that made him mad, and, well, he was a queer kind of a rusty-fusty old coon, and it appeared that he got older and rustier and fustier and coonier every fall. You see, it always took him in the fall. It was too much for him. He got took down with the ague. He was so bad the doctors gave him up, and Mother, she went for a minister, and while she was gone, the old man called me in his room. "Come in, Asa boy," says he, and his voice rang loud and clear as a bell. "Come in," says he. Well, I come in. "Sit down," says he, taking a great piece of paper. "When I die, this sheet of paper makes you heir to all my property in England." Well, you can calculate I pricked up my ears about that time. Time by the minister came, and I left the room, and I do believe he had a 3 days' fight with the devil for that old man's soul. But he got the upper hand of Satan at last, and when the minister had gone, the old man called me into his room again. The old squire was sitting up in his bed, his face as pale as the sheet that covered him, his silken hair flowing in silvery locks from under his red cap, and the tears rolling from his large blue eyes down his furrowed cheek like 2 mill streams. Will you excuse me lighting a cigar? for the story is long, awful moving, and I don't think I could get on without a smoke.
Strikes match.
Well, says he to me, and his voice was not as loud as it was afore. It was like the whisper of the wind in a pine forest, low and awful. Asa boy, said he, I feel that I've sinned in hardening my heart against my own flesh and blood, but I will not wrong the last that is left of them. Give me the light, says he. Well, I gave him the candle that stood by his bedside, and he took the sheet of paper I was telling you of, just as I might take this.
Takes will from pocket.
And he twisted it up, as I might this.
Lights will.
And he lights it just this way, and he watched it burn slowly and slowly away. Then says he, Asa boy, that act disinherits you, but it leaves all my property to one who has a better right to it, my own daughter's darling child, Mary Meredith. And then he smiled, sank back upon his pillow, drew a long sigh as if he felt relieved. And that was the last of poor old Mark Trenchard.
Poor grandfather.
Buries her face and sobs. Asa, after business.
Well, I guess I better leave her alone.
Sees half-burned will.
There lies $400,000 if there's a cent. Asa boy, you're a hoss.
Starts off.
To me, all to me. Oh, Mr. Trenchard, how we have all wronged poor grandfather. What, gone? He felt after such tidings, he felt I should be left alone. Who would suspect there was such delicacy under that rough husk? But I can hardly believe that startling news. His heiress, I, the penniless orphan of an hour ago, no longer penniless, but, alas, an orphan still, with none to share my wealth, none to love me.
Enter Florence. Florence, throwing arms around Mary's neck.
What treason is this, Mary? No one to love you, hey? What's the matter? You've been weeping, and I met that American savage coming from here. He has not been rude to you?
Oh, no. He's the gentlest of human beings, but he has just told me news that has moved me strangely.
What is it, love?
That all grandfather's property is mine. Mine, Florence, do you understand?
What? He has popped, has he? I thought he would.
Who do you mean?
Who? Asa Trenchard, to be sure.
Asa Trenchard? Why, what put that in your head?
Why, how can Mark Trenchard's property be yours unless you marry the legatee?
The legatee? Who?
Why, you know Mark Trenchard left everything to Asa.
No, you have been misinformed.
Nonsense. He showed it to me not an hour ago on a half sheet of rough paper just like this.
Sees will.
Like this?
Picks it up.
Why, this is part of it, I believe.
That's the paper he lighted his cigar with.
Then he lighted his cigar with £80,000. Here is old Mark Trenchard's signature.
Yes, I recognize the hand.
And here are the words, Asa Trenchard, in consideration of sole heir, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, Florence, what does this mean?
It means that he is a true hero, and he loves you, you little rogue.
Embraces her.
Generous man.
Hides face in Florence's bosom.
Oh, won't I convict him now? I'll find him at once.
Runs off, Mary after her calling.
Florence! Florence!
As scene closes. Scene 2, chamber as before. Enter Mrs. Mountchessington and Augusta.
Yes, my child, while Mr. De Boots and Mr. Trenchard are both here, you must ask yourself seriously as to the state of your affections. Remember, your happiness for life will depend upon the choice you make.
What would you advise, Mamma? You know I am always advised by you.
Dear, obedient child. De Boots has excellent expectations, but then they are only expectations after all. This American is rich, and on the whole, I think, a well-regulated affection ought to incline to Asa Trenchard.
Very well, Mamma.
At the same time, you must be cautious, or in grasping at Asa Trenchard's solid good qualities, you may miss them, and De Boots' expectations into the bargain.
Oh, I will take care not to give up my hold on poor De Boots, till I am quite sure of the American.
That's my own girl.
Enter Asa.
Ah, Mr. Trenchard, we were just talking of your archery powers.
Well, I guess shooting with bows and arrows is just about like most things in life. All you've got to do is keep the sun out of your eyes, look straight, pull strong, calculate the distance, and you're sure to hit the mark in most things as well as shooting.
But not in England, Mr. Trenchard. There are disinterested hearts that only ask an opportunity of showing how they despise that gold which others set such store by.
Well, I suppose there are, Miss Gusty.
All I crave is affection.
Do you now? I wish I could make sure of that, for I've been cruelly disappointed in that particular.
Yes, but we are old friends, Mr. Trenchard, and you needn't be afraid of us.
Oh, I ain't afraid of you. Both on you together.
People sometimes look a great way off for that which is near at hand.
Glancing at Augusta and Asa alternatively.
You don't mean Miss Gusta?
Augusta casts sheep's eyes at him.
Now, don't look at me in that way. I can't stand it. If you do, I'll bust.
Oh, if you only knew how refreshing this ingenuousness of yours is to an old woman of the world like me.
Be you an old woman of the world?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
Well, I don't doubt it in the least.
Aside.
This gal and the old woman are trying to get me on a string. Well, then, if a rough-spun fellow like me was to come forward as a suitor for your daughter's hand, you wouldn't treat me as some folks do when they find out I wasn't heir to the fortune.
Not heir to the fortune, Mr. Trenchard?
Oh, no.
What? No fortune?
Nary red. It all comes to their barking up the wrong tree about the old man's property.
Which he left to you.
Oh, no.
Not to you?
No, which he meant to leave to me, but he thought better on it, and he left it to his granddaughter, Miss Mary Meredith.
Miss Mary Meredith. Oh, I'm delighted.
Delighted?
Yes, you both look tickled to death. Now, some gals and mothers would go away from a fellow when they found that out, but you don't vally fortune, Miss Gusty.
Mrs. Mountchessington, aside, crosses to Augusta.
My love, you had better go.
You crave affection, you do? Now, I've no fortune, but I'm filling over with affections, which I'm ready to pour out all over you like apple sass over roast pork.
Mr. Trenchard, you will please recollect you are addressing my daughter, and in my presence.
Yes, I'm offering her my heart and hand just as she wants them, with nothing in 'em.
Augusta, dear, to your room.
Yes, Ma. The nasty beast.
Exit.
I am aware, Mr. Trenchard, you are not used to the manners of good society, and that alone will excuse the impertinence of which you have been guilty.
Don't know the manners of good society, eh? Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal. You sock-dologizing old man-trap. Well, now, when I think what I've thrown away in hard cash today, I'm apt to call myself some awful hard names. $400,000 is a big pile for a man to light his cigar with. If that gal had only given me herself in exchange, it wouldn't have been a bad bargain. But I dare no more ask that gal to be my wife than I dare ask Queen Victoria to dance a Cape Cod reel.
Enter Florence.
What do you mean by doing all these dreadful things?
Which things?
Come here, sir.
He does so.
What's the matter?
Do you know this piece of paper?
Showing burnt paper.
Well, I think I have seen it before.
Aside.
It's old Mark Trenchard's will that I left half burned up like a landhead that I am.
And you're determined to give up this fortune to Mary Meredith?
Well, I couldn't help it if I tried.
Oh, don't say that.
I didn't mean to do it when I first came here. Hadn't the least idea in the world of it. But when I saw that everlasting angel of a gal moving around among them, doing fixin's like a sunbeam in a shady place, and when I pictured her without a dollar in the world, well, My old Adam riz right up, and I said, Asa, do it. And I did it.
Well, I don't know who your old Adam may be, but whoever it is, he's a very honest man to consult you to do so good an action. But how dare you do such an outrageous thing? You impudent, you unceremonious, oh, you unselfish man, you...
Smothers him with kisses and runs off.
Well, if that ain't worth $400,000, I don't know what is. It was sweeter than sweet cider right out of the bunghole. Let me see how things stand round here. Thanks to old Whiskers, I've got that ship for the sailor man, and that makes him and Miss Florence all hunk. And there's that darned old Coyle. Well, I guess me and old Murcott can fix his flint for him. Then there's...
Looks off.
Christopher Columbus, here comes Mary.
Enter Mary.
Mr. Trenchard, what can I say to you but offer you my lifelong gratitude?
Don't now, miss, don't.
If I knew what else to offer. Heaven knows there is nothing that is mine to give that I would keep back.
Give me yourself. I know what a rude, ill-mannered block I am, but there's a heart inside me worth something if it's only for the sake of your dear little image that's planted right plump in the middle of it.
Asa Trenchard, there is my hand, and my heart is in it.
Asa seizes her hand, then drops it suddenly.
Miss Mary, I made what folks call a big sacrifice for you this morning. Oh, I know it. I ain't so modest, but that I know it. Now, what's this you're doing? Is this sacrifice you are making out of gratitude for me? 'Cause if it is, I wouldn't have it. Though not to have it would nigh break my heart, tough as it is.
No, no, I give myself freely to you, as freely as you this morning gave my grandfather's property to me.
Say it again, last of hope and blessed promise.
Clasps her in his arms.
Mary, there's something tells me that you'll not repent it. I'm rough, Mary, awful rough. But you needn't fear that I'll ever be rough to you. I've camped out in the woods, Mary, often and often, and seen the bears at play with their cubs in the moonlight. The glistening teeth that would tear the hunter was harmless to them. The big strong claws that would peel a man's head as a knife would a pumpkin was as soft for them as velvet cushions, and that's what I'll be with you, my own little wife, and if ever harm does come to you, it must come over the dead body of Asa Trenchard.
I know it, Asa. And if I do not prove a true and loving wife to you, may my mother's bright spirit never look down to bless her child.
Well, if I don't get out in the air, I'll bust.
Exit hastily, pulling Mary after him. Enter Binny, drunk.
Mr. Asa! Oh, he's gone. Well, I suppose he'll come back to keep his appointment. Mr. Coyle's quite impatient. It isn't often that an American has a run of the wine cellars of Trenchard Manor. And in such company, too. There's me and Mr. Coyle, which is a good judge of old port wine, and he knows it when he drinks. And his clerk, Mr. Murcott, which I don't exactly like sitting down with clerks. But Mr. Asa wished it, and Mr. Coyle hadn't any objections. So in course I put my feelings in my pocket. Besides, Murcott is a man of education, though unfortunately taken to drink. Well, what of that? It's been many a man's misfortune, though I say it. That shouldn't say it, being a butler. But now to join my distinguished party.
Exit. Scene 3, Wine Cellar. Coyle, Murcott, and Binny discovered. Table left with 2 cups and bottles. Coyle left of table, seated. Binny back of table. Murcott sitting on barrel, right. Door in flat with staircase discovered, dark. Stage half dark. Candles on table, lighted.
A capital glass of wine, Mr. Binny, and a capital place to drink it.
Asa without.
Bring a light here, can't you? I've broken my natural allowance of shins already.
Enters downstairs. Asa to Murcott.
Is he tight yet?
Histered, but not quite gone yet.
Oh, Mr. Trenchard, glad to see you, to welcome you to the vaults of your ancestors.
Oh, these are the vaults of my ancestors, are they? Well, you seem to be punishing their spirits pretty well.
Wines, Mr. Asa. The spirits are in the Houter's cellar.
Oh, Mr. Asa, there is no place like a wine cellar for a hearty bout. Here you might bawl yourself hoarse beneath these ribs of stone, and nobody hear you.
He shouts and sings very loud.
La 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 la.
Oh, wouldn't they hear you?
Aside.
That's worth knowing.
Binny, very drunk, rising.
That's right, Mr. Coyle. Make as much noise as you like. You are in the cellars of Trenchard Manor, Mr. Coyle. Mr. Coyle, bless you, Mr. Coyle. Mr. Coyle, why is it, Mr. Coyle, I am sitting at the present time in this present distinguished company? I will tell you, Mr. Coyle, it is because I always acts and conducts myself as becomes a gentleman, and I knows what's due to manners.
Falls in chair.
Steady, old hoss, steady.
I'm steady. I always was steady.
Staggers across to left.
I'm going to fetch clean glasses.
Exit.
Now, Mr. Coyle, suppose you give us a song.
Cole, very drunk.
I can't sing, Mr. Trenchard, but I sometimes join in the chorus.
Well, give us a chorus.
Will you assist in the vocalization thereof?
We'll do the best of my endeavors thereunto.
We won't go home till morning. We won't go home till morning. We won't...
Falls off chair, senseless.
I don't think you'll go home at all. Now then, quick, Murcott, before the butler comes back, get his keys.
Murcott gets keys from Coyle's pocket and throws them to Asa.
Is this all?
No. The key of his private bureau is on his watch chain, and I can't get it off.
Take watch and all.
No. He will accuse us of robbing him.
Never mind, I'll take the responsibility.
Coyle moves.
He is getting up.
Well, darn me, knock him down again.
I can't.
Can't you? Well, I can.
Pulls Murcott away, knocks Coyle down, is going towards downstage, meets Binny with tray and glasses, kicks it, knocks Binny down and exits up staircase, followed by Murcott carrying candle. Dark state. Binny rises, Coyle ditto. Blindly encounter each other and pummel soundly till change. Scene 4. Chamber in 1, same as Scene 2. Enter Dundreary and Vernon. Dundreary stops and is seized with an inclination to sneeze. Motions with his hand to Vernon.
My lord. Your lordship. My lord.
Oh, there you go. Now you've spoiled it.
Spoiled what, my lord?
Spoiled what? Why, a most magnificent sneeze.
I'm very sorry to interrupt your lordship's sneeze. I merely wanted to express my gratitude to you for getting me a ship.
Sir, I don't want your gratitude. I only want to sneeze.
Very well, my lord. Then I will leave you, and this gives you an opportunity for sneezing. But in return for what you have done for me, should you ever want a service a sailor can offer you, just hail Harry Vernon, and you'll find he'll weigh anchor and be alongside.
Hitches up breeches and exits.
Find him alongside? What does he mean by alongside? And he always wants to weigh anchor. What funny fellows the sailors are. Why the devil won't they keep a memorandum of the weight of their anchor? What's the matter with the sailor's side?
Imitates Vernon.
Oh, I see. He's got the stomachache.
Exit. Scene 5. Library in Trenchard Manor. Enter Buddicombe, following Lord Dundreary.
A letter, my lord.
Dundreary takes letter.
You may go.
Exit Buddicombe, opens letter.
My dear Frederick, he calls me Frederick because my name is Robert. I wrote you on my arrival. Why, I never heard from him. But I am afraid you did not get the letter because I put no name on the envelope. That's the reason why I didn't get it. But who did get it? It must have been some fellow without any name. My dear brother, the other day a rap came to my door, and some fellows came in and proposed a quiet game of poker. A quiet game of poker? Why, they wanted to kill him with a poker. I consented and got stuck. Oh, Sam's dead. I've got a dead lunatic for a brother. For the drinks. Oh, he got on the other side of the paper. Why couldn't he get stuck all on one side? P.S. If you don't get this letter, let me know, for I shall feel anxious. Oh, he's a mad lunatic.
Exit. Scene 6. Coyle's office. High desk and stool. Modern box center against flat cabinet. Asa discovered looking over papers on box. Murcott looking in desk.
Have you found it?
No, Mr. Trenchard. I've searched all the drawers, but can find no trace of it.
What's this?
That's a cabinet where his father kept old deeds. The key he always carries about him.
Oh, he does he? Well, I reckon I saw a key as I came in that will open it.
Exit.
Key? Oh, my poor muddled brain. What can he mean?
Asa re-enters with axe.
Here's a key that will open any lock that Hob ever invented.
Key? What key?
What key? Why, Yang key.
Shows axe, begins to break open cabinet. Enter Coyle.
Villains! Would you rob me?
Stand off, Mr. Coyle. We are desperate.
Now seizes him.
Here it is as sure as there are snakes in Virginia. Let the old cuss go, Murcott.
Burglars! Oh, you shall dearly pay for this.
Yes, I'll pay, but I guess you'll find the change.
The law shall aid me.
Well, perhaps it would be as well not to call in the law just yet. It might look a little further than might be convenient.
It's no use to blunder, Mr. Coyle. You are harmless to us now, for we have that will crush you.
Well, what are your conditions? Money, how much?
Well, we weren't thinking of coming down on your dollars, but you have an appointment with Sir Edward at 2, haven't you?
Well?
Well, I want you to keep that appointment.
Keep it?
Yes, and that's all I do want you to keep of his. And instead of saying you have come to foreclose the mortgage, I want you to say you have found the release which proves the mortgage to have been paid off.
I accept. Is that all?
Not quite. Then I want you to pay off the execution debts.
What? I pay Sir Edward's debts?
Yes, with Sir Edward's money that stuck to your fingers naturally while passing through your hands.
Coyle to Murcott.
Traitor.
He knows all, Mr. Coyle.
Is there anything more?
Yes, I want you to apologize to Miss Florence Trenchard for having the darned impudence to propose for her hand.
What more?
Then you resign your stewardship in favor of your clerk, Abel Murcott.
What, that drunkard vagabond?
Well, he was, but he's going to take the pledge at the first pump he comes to.
Yes, I will conquer the demon drink, or die in the struggle with him.
Well, anything more?
Yes, I think the next thing will be to get washed. You're not the handsomest man at best, and now you're awful.
Coyle makes a dash at Murcott. Asa catches him and turns him round.
Mr. Coyle, in your present state of mind, you had better go first.
Oh, sir, it is your turn now.
Yes, it is my turn, but you can have the first wash. Come along, Murcott.
Exeunt. Scene 7. Library in Trenchard Manor. Sir Edward discovered seated right of table.
The clock is on the stroke of 2, and Coyle is waiting my decision. In giving her to him, I know I shall be embittering her life to save my fortune. But appearances... No. I will not sacrifice her young life, so full of promise, for a few short years of questionable state for myself.
Enter Florence.
Better leave her to the mercy of chance, than sell her to the scoundrel. And to myself, I will not survive the downfall of my house, but end it thus.
Raises pistol to his head. Florence seizes his arm and screams.
Father, dear father, what despair is this?
Sir Edward buries his face in his hands.
If it is fear of poverty, do not think of me. I will marry this man if I drop dead in my bridal robes.
Enter Binny.
Mr. Coyle, sir, who has come by appointment.
I will not see him.
Yes, show him up, Mr. Binny.
Exit Binny.
Florence, I will not consent to this sacrifice.
Enter Asa, Coyle, and Murcott.
How is this, Mr. Coyle? You are not alone?
No, you see, Squire, Mr. Coyle wishes me and his clerk to witness the cutting off the seals from the mortgage, which he has been lucky enough to find the release of.
Heavens, is it so?
Yes, Sir Edward. There is the release executed by my father, which had become detached.
Accidentally.
Saved at last from want.
Meanwhile, I have paid the execution debts out of a fine which has just fallen in.
Accidentally. It's astonishing how things have fallen in and out today.
But your demand here?
Points to Florence.
I make none, Sir Edward. I regret that I should have conceived so mad a thought. It is enough to unfit me for longer holding position as your agent, which I beg humbly to resign.
Asa, aside to him.
Recommending as your successor.
Recommending as my successor Abel Murcott, whose knowledge of your affairs, gained in my office, will render him as useful as I have been.
Yes, just about.
Your request is granted, Mr. Coyle.
And now, my dear Mr. Coyle, you may absquatulate.
I go, Sir Edward, with equal good wishes for all assembled here.
Darts a look at Murcott and exits.
That's a good man, Sir Edward.
Yes.
Oh, he's a very good man.
Yes, he is a good man.
But he can't keep a hotel.
Mr. Murcott, your offense was heavy.
And so has been his reparation. Forgive him, Papa. Mr. Murcott, you saved me. May heaven bless you.
Yes, I saved her, thank heaven. I had strength enough for that.
Exits.
You'll keep your promise and make Mr. Murcott your clerk, Papa?
Yes, I can refuse nothing. I am so happy. I can refuse none anything today.
Can't you, Sir Edward? Now that's awful lucky, for there's 2 gals want your consent mighty bad.
Indeed, for what?
To get hitched.
Hitched?
Yes, to get spliced.
Spliced?
Yes, to get married.
They have it by anticipation. Who are they?
There's one on 'em.
Points to Florence.
Florence? And the other?
She's right outside.
Exit hastily.
Well, and who is the happy man, Lord
Dundreary? No, Papa, but Harry Vernon. He's not poor now, though. He's got a ship.
Re-enter Asa with Mary.
Here's the other one, Sir Edward.
Mary? Who is the object of your choice?
Rough-spun, honest-hearted Asa Trenchard.
Mr. Trenchard, you win a heart of gold.
And so does Mary, Papa, believe me.
Crosses to Asa. Mary and Sir Edward go up.
What's the matter?
You make me blush.
I don't see you blushing.
I'm blushing all the way down my back.
Oh, you, go long.
Goes upstage.
Hello, here's all the folks coming 2 by 2 as if they were pairing for Noah's Ark. Here's Mrs. Mountchessington and the sailor man.
Enter as Asa calls them off.
Here's De Boots and his gal, and darn me if here ain't old Sittity Fetchit and the sick gal. How are you, Buttons?
Dundreary knocks against Asa.
Oh, there's that damned rhinoceros again.
Crosses to left with Georgina and seats her.
Here comes Turkey Cock number 2 and his gal, and darn me if here ain't Puffy and his gal.
Mr. Vernon, take her. She is yours, though heaven knows what I shall do without her.
Ah, Sir Edward, that is just my case. But you'll never know what it is to be a mother. Georgina, Augusta, my dears, come here.
They come down each side of her.
You'll sometimes think of your poor mamma, bless you.
Aside to them.
Oh, you couple of fools.
Bumps their foreheads. Dundreary has business with Georgina, then leads her to a seat. De Boots to Dundreary.
Why, Fred, we're all getting married.
Yes, it's catching, like the cholera.
I hope, Sir Edward, there's no objections to my leading Miss Sharp to the hymeneal halter?
Certainly not, Mr. Binny.
Buddicombe to Dundreary.
And Skillet and I have made so bold, my lord.
Yes, you generally do make bold. But bless you, my children, bless you.
Say, you, Lord Buttons. I say, Whiskers.
Illustrious exile?
They're a nice color, ain't they?
Yes, they're all white now.
All white? No, they're all black.
When I say white, I mean black.
Say, shall I tell that sick gal about that hair dye?
No, you needn't tell that sick girl about the hair dye.
Well, I won't if you don't want me to.
That man is a damned rattlesnake.
Goes up, sits in Georgina's lap, turns to apologize, sits in Augusta's lap. Same business with Mrs. Mountchessington, then goes back to Georgina.
Miss Georgina?
She comes down.
How's your appetite? Shall I tell that lord about the beefsteak and onions I saw you pitching into?
Please don't, Mr. Trenchard. I'm so delicate.
Well, I won't if you don't want me to.
Oh, thank you.
Backs up stage and sits in Dundreary's lap, who has taken her seat.
Miss Gusty.
Augusta comes down.
Got your boots, hain't you?
Yes, Mr. Trenchard.
How do they fit you? Say, shall I tell that fellow you were after me first?
Not for the world, Mr. Trenchard.
Well, I won't if you don't want me to.
Asa to Mrs. Mountchessington.
Mrs. Mountchestnut?
Sir, I haven't a chestnut to offer you, but if you like some of your native food, I'll order you a donut.
I do not see it.
Ah, that's good.
Yes, very good.
For you.
Oh, you get out. I mean the old lady.
Mrs. Mountchessington, this illustrious exile wishes to see you.
Mrs. Mountchessington comes down.
Well, old woman?
Old woman, sir?
Got 2 of them gals off your hands, haven't you?
I'm proud to say I have.
Shall I tell them fellas you tried to stick them on me first?
You'll please not mention the subject.
Well, I won't if you don't want me to.
Backs up, curtsying, knocks back against Dundreary, who is stooping to pick up a handkerchief. They turn and bunk foreheads.
Say, Mr. Puffy!
Binny comes down.
Shall I tell Sir Edward about your getting drunk in the wine cellar?
You need not. Not if you don't like unto.
Well, I won't, if you don't want me to.
Remember the old adage. A still tongue shows a wise head.
Excuse me.
Oh, I see.
Goes up. Florence comes down.
Well, cousin, what have you to say to us?
Mary comes down right of Asa.
Well, I ain't got no ring to put in your noses.
To Mary.
But I's got one to put on your finger. And I guess the sailor man has one to put on yours. And I guess you two are as happy as clams at high water.
I'm sure you must be very happy.
Well, I am not so sure about my happiness.
Why, you ungrateful fellow, what do you want to complete it?
Asa to audience.
My happiness depends on you.
And I'm sure you will not regret your kindness shown to our American cousin. But don't go yet, pray, for Lord Dundreary has a word to say.
Mrs. Mountchessington?
Oh, that's the idea.
End of Act 3. End of Our American Cousin by Tom Taylor.